All right, guys, zip it. Shut up, Palin. Hannah, question? Oh, yeah, let's go over the homework first. I'm sorry, forgot about that. Let me read the answers real quick so you guys know. I think you guys are really good with this. You're doing very well. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm going to read the answers one time, so don't ask me to repeat. Pay attention. Where's your homework?
What? She just said you don't have to go
Oh,
over your
going over homework. Everyone should have it out. Don't put your homework away. If I forget, make sure you tell me. All right, number 1, negative 5/12. Number 2 is 4/5. Number 3 is 7/9. Number 4 is negative 5/6. Number 5 is negative 6/7. Number 6, let's see, that would be negative 164 over 15, or negative 10 and 4/15. Number 7 is 77 over 20, or 3 and 17/20. Number 8 is negative 45 over 4, or negative 11 and 1/4. Number 9 is 30 over 7, or 4 and 2/7. Let's see. Number 10 is negative 95 over 16, or negative 5 and 5/16. Number 11 is negative 4 over 35. Number 12 is negative 2/5. Number 13 is 21 over 20, or 1 and 1/20. Number 14 is 7/16. Number 15 is negative 9/10. Number 16 is negative 32 over 27, or negative 1 and 5/27. Number 17 is 10/19. Number 18 is negative 1/12. Number 19 is 52 over 161. If you got that, you probably thought, oh my gosh, can I reduce that? And you can't. Number 20, let's see, it would be negative 74 over 45, or negative 1 and 29 over 45. Okay, questions. We have time to put 2 or 3 up if you guys have questions. Johnny?
I got 148 over 90.
Probably. Yes, sounds like you did.
I didn't realize you were doing those.
What's that? Yeah, you only got 1 wrong. That's great. Thomas, you have a question about this?
No.
Then zip it.
He told me.
Okay, any questions? Any ones that you guys want to see? All right, put that away. No.
They're gonna stay here forever.
Okay, I'm going to start the, ooh, I have the video. We've been running the video the whole time, guys. So I guess that Mackenzie will get to watch going over homework, or else I'll have to learn how to edit. Okay, so the first one is, they always tell you kind of what the application is, and the application here is free diving. We can use multiplication of rational numbers to solve a free diving problem. Question, Brian?
You know you can just delete that video while we're doing it.
Yeah, that's all right. All right, free diving is an underwater activity in which the diver does not use scuba gear. When James free dives, he can descend 1 1/3 feet per second below sea level. How far below sea level can James descend in 5 seconds? Okay, I want you to think about this for a minute. Think about what you might do to solve this, and then we're going to talk about it. So we need to determine whether we're going to multiply or divide, as Sammy asked about, and then we have to determine whether we are going to use any negatives or not, as Caitlin said. So what do you think? If he descends 1 1/3 feet per second, and it's asking us how far he can descend in 5 seconds, Sammy, do you think you would multiply or divide to figure that out?
Divide because he's going down.
Okay, so if we divided, we would end up with a smaller number than what we started with. So if he's descending and it takes him 5 seconds, do you think he would descend in 5 seconds less than he descended in 1 second? let's forget about the fraction a minute. What if I told you, forget this problem is, what if I told you I can walk 2 squares per second? How many squares would I walk in 5 seconds?
5.
I can walk 2 squares, okay, so I'll do it. 2 squares in 1 second. How many can I walk in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds? Caleb?
10.
10. What did you do to get that? Multiplied, yeah. 2 times 5. Sometimes when we have fractions, our brains shut down a little bit. We forget what to do, but it's the same thing. We're going to need to multiply. If he goes 1 1/3 feet per second, we have to multiply that times the number of seconds. Johnny?
I have the answer.
Okay, before you do, let's talk about the negative. Would it be useful to put a negative sign in this at all? Anybody think it would?
Yeah.
Kaylin, what do you think?
Yeah,
Why?
because 1 1/3 has descent like right in front of it, and descend means like going down. So it's gonna be
Excellent. This word descend is telling us that we're going down. So we actually do want to use negative 1 1/3, and we want to multiply that times 5. All right, Johnny, you have an answer for this?
Yeah, I have 6 2/3.
Good.
What I got first was 20 over.
Okay, 20 over 3, or it makes sense to convert this to a mixed number, especially in the context of a word problem. 20 over 3 doesn't mean a lot to us, but 6 2/3 does. And we're going to have a negative 6
Yeah.
2/3 because we have different
Sorry
signs.
about that.
So this is telling us he can descend 6 2/3 feet in 5 seconds. Now, you could give me your answer as a negative answer. You could say negative 6 2/3 feet, or you could say he can descend 6 2/3 feet in 5 seconds. You can use the word descend, and then you don't have to put your negative sign. Okay, next question.
How did you get the other 1/3?
This 1/3
No, like on
over here?
Yeah.
Okay, let's actually do this then. So first I'm going to use horseshoe method. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4. So I have 4/3 times 5 over 1. I can't cross simplify. I end up with 20 over 3. 3 goes into 26 times with 2 left over. So that's where the 2/3 came from. Okay. Next slide are 2 problems for you to try, and these are again on page 40 in your textbook, so if it's hard for you to see them, you can turn to this in your textbook. I want you to try to solve A and B of number 4 here, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, part A. Marta is conducting a science experiment. She changes the temperature of a chemical solution by negative 3/4 of a degree Fahrenheit each minute. What is the total change in the temperature of the chemical solution after 11 minutes? So we know we have a negative number because it's right in there. Spencer, are we going to multiply or divide to solve this? Multiply, good. So negative 3/4 times, I'm going to go ahead and write it as 11 over 1. What do we end up with, Spencer, as an answer? Good. We first get negative 33/4, which is negative 8 1/4, and then let's go ahead and put our label, degrees Fahrenheit. Sammy, question?
I guess
Like for these problems, can we just put 33 over 4 or negative 8 and 1?
Yeah, that's fine.
And that's better.
All right, Austin. Next one, we have Inez has her gym membership fee of $24.95 deducted from her savings account each month. After 6 months, what is the total change of the amount of money in her savings account? First of all, Austin, should we use any negative numbers, do you think?
I couldn't figure it out.
Okay. Kaylin, what do you think? Should we use any negative
Yes.
numbers? What?
24 and 95.
Okay, and how did you know we should use a negative number?
Deducted also means like taken away.
Taking away, good. So we have negative $24.95. Spencer, or not Spencer, Austin, do you think we're going to multiply or divide there?
Divide.
Okay, so if we divided, we would get a number
Oh,
smaller.
wait, no,
Multiply, yeah, we want a number bigger than what we started with, because if we're taking $24.95 out every month, we have to multiply that times the number of months to figure out how many. Okay, does anyone have an answer for $24.95 times 6? Did anyone get that yet? Brian?
I got negative 149.70.
Excellent. You get negative
Right?
$149.
Please don't let babies.
Guys, I am recording this lesson, not making answers. All right, so we're $149.70 is the amount it's changed, and it's negative because the amount in her checking account has gotten less because we're deducting. So all of these were actually multiplication. Now we're going to look at some division. So I'm telling you right up front, they're going to be division. Denise takes her father's old bicycle to a shop to be restored. The shop owner charges Denise $205.20 for the work on the bicycle. The owner wants Denise to pay the bill in full in 4.5 months. What amount does Denise need to pay each month to settle the bill? What will her payments be? This is kind of a weird question because he wants her to pay the bill in 4.5 months. Most people pay their bills like it would be in 4 months or in 5 months. You usually don't have half months in there, but you know, sometimes math word problems do strange things. All right, Sammy, do you have a question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it one of those problems you have to change a decimal to a fraction?
We are, because we're working with decimals and fractions, so we're going to need to change one or the other of them. So we have to decide what's going to be easiest. So first of all, let's decide if anything should be negative up here. What do you think? Should we have any negative, Johnny?
Can we have negative for the months?
Negative for the months? Well, it'd be kind of hard to have negative months because we're not going backwards in months. Any other ideas about negatives? Sammy?
$205.20
Yeah, why would that be negative?
because she's depositing it to the guy.
She's giving it to the guy. So for him, it's positive, right? But for her, it's negative. Yeah, so let's make this negative because the owner charges her, so she has to pay him. So her amount is going to end up being decreased, okay? So we have negative 205.20, and she has to pay, that's the total amount she has to pay, and she has 4.5 months to pay it. So it's asking us what amount she has to pay each month. We're going to need a smaller amount. She's not going to pay more each month than she pays here. So are we going to multiply or divide? We're going to divide, yeah. So we're going to divide by 4.5. Now we have this problem, though. We've not done any problems like this before where we had a decimal and a fraction. So we either have to change the decimal to a fraction or change the fraction to a decimal. Okay? Yeah, go ahead. Jonathan, what do you think?
Change fraction to a decimal.
Yeah, I think in this case it's easiest to change the fraction to a decimal. What is negative 4.5 as a decimal?
9.
What?
9.
If you do horseshoe, you end up with 9 halves. But that's not the actual decimal. Do you guys remember how to change a fraction to a decimal?
No,
Isn't it like you gotta put the smaller number in the box and divide by the bigger number?
I got it.
You put the top number in the box and divide by the bottom number, yes, and it would be bigger. So what would you get? What is 1/2? Thomas?
4.5.
It's 0.5, so it's dividing by 4.5. Okay? So then this one's kind of a pain because you do have to do long division. And I know long division is kind of a pain when you're not allowed to use calculators. You will soon be allowed to use calculators. So when we're dividing, we put this in the box, this outside. Remember, when we're dividing decimals, we have to move our decimal place over in both the divisor and the dividend, so it's also going to be moved over in the quotient. Okay, 45 goes into 205 4 times, and it goes 45 times 4 is 180, so we end up with 5 and 2. Bringing down this 2 gives us 252. It goes into 252 5 times, and 45 times 5 is 225. 12 minus 5 is 7, 4 minus 2 is 2, bringing it down to 0. We have 270, and 45 goes into 270 exactly 6 times. So we have $45.60, okay? That's how much she has to pay each month. Now, this is a little bit weird because we have this half a month. So on her whole months, this is how much she's going to pay. She's going to pay $45.60 for 4 months. Well, how much is she going to pay in that half of a month? How would we figure that out? Brian?
She's gonna pay $26.10.
No, it's not $26, but you're doing the right thing. It's just, you're just getting mixed up in your head. We need to cut this in half.
$22.30.
It's not 30 cents. It's $22. Let's do this real quick like this so you can see. We have 2, 2. How many times does 2 go into 16? 8. So it's 80 cents. So she's paying, it's negative because she's paying negative $45.60 per month, except the last month is $22.80 because it's a shorter month. Sammy, question?
Yep. Don't you need to put a negative sign on the $22.80?
I just did. I just stuck it there. Yes. Yes. All right. Next one is the quick check. This should be on. This is on a different page in your textbook. It says page 45, so I bet it's actually page 44, maybe in your textbook. Someone want to check that before I write it up here?
Say quick check.
Yeah. It's on.
No, she did this slow check.
Yeah, there it is. It's on page 44. Okay, so I want you to try these. So let's just read this together. Lucy owes $125.40 for repairs on her laptop. She agrees to pay this back in 5.5 weeks. By what amount will her checking account change each week to do this? First of all, is the amount in her checking account going to go down or up? Just show me by pointing. Is it going to go down or up? Everybody should be pointing down or up. Yeah, it's going to go down. She's paying money, so it's going to come out of her checking account. So this is the amount that she owes. That's the total. Now, she's not going to have to pay that back in one payment. She's going to pay it in 5.5 weeks. So that means she's going to pay some every week. So we have to take this total amount and we have to divide it into equal amounts so that she can pay the same amount each week. So that's why we're dividing. So we're dividing by 5.5 because that's how many weeks she has to pay it back. Now, in order to actually do the division, we either have to change both problems to fractions or change them both to decimals. When we're dealing with 5.5, half is something you should kind of have memorized and just know. But if you don't have it memorized, you can do 1 divided by 2. 2 goes into 1, not at all. Adding a decimal and a 0. 2 goes into 10 5 times, and then you're done. So you can see that 1/2 equals 0.5. And a lot of you know that already. So a lot of you don't need to do the division there. You just know that 5.5 is 0.5. Okay, the next problem. Some of you are getting confused in how to actually do the long division. So let's talk through that in a little more detail. We have 5.5 into $125.40. Okay, I'm going to move our decimal places over. And in my answer, the decimal place is going to go right there. So I start by thinking, how many times 55? It can't go into 1, it can't go into 12, so I have to think about 125. Think about how many times it goes into 125. The way I do that is I just look at the first digit. I think, how many times would just 5 go into 12? 5 goes into 12 twice, because 5 times 2 is 10. So I'm going to start with 2 as my possibility. Like maybe 55 goes into 125 2 times. So I'm going to do that off to the side. I'm going to do 55 times 2. I get 10 and 11. And that fits without going over. I know it's not going to be 3 because 5 doesn't go into 12 3 times. That would definitely go over. So I can say that it goes in twice. Subtracting 110, I get 15, bringing down my 4. Now I have a 15 here, so 5 goes into 15 3 times, so I think, well, maybe 55 might go in 3 times, so I'm going to try that. Do 55 times 3, and I get 165. That's too big, so I can't use 3 there. I thought it might work, but it didn't. A lot of guess and check whenever you're doing long division. So I'm going to go back to my 2, goes into it twice. I'm going to subtract 110 again. This time I have 44. I need to erase this. Bringing down my 0. Now I have 440. And again, I think, how many times would 5 go into 44? I know that 5 times 8 is 40, so I'm going to guess that maybe 55 times 8 might work, but I have to check it to see because it might go over. 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 5 is 40 plus 4 is 44. That is exactly what we want up here. So 0.8 minus 440. So I could add another 0 to make this a money amount. So you should have gotten negative $22.80. That's how much it's going to change each week, except that last week. That last week, when it's only half a week, how much is it going to change by? Can anyone tell me that? Or in the half a week, it's not going to be $22.80. That last payment is going to be only half of that. How much is half of $22.80? Spencer? Good. Half of it would be $11.40. So that last payment is going to be $11.40. Okay, part B. Austin, can you tell me what I would do?
Take 800 and take 315 and take 25.
Uh-huh.
And then divide the 1 and 2 out of 6 and 1/2.
Okay, so what would that end up being as a decimal?
0.25.
0.5. So we're going to do, so we can keep our 6. So we have 6.5. Okay. Now, I'm not going to go through the long division on this because we're almost out of time. But when I do this, I end up with negative $48.50. Hey guys, don't pack up yet because I haven't given you your assignment, so you need to write this down. Your assignment is from 2 different sections in your textbooks. There are 2 pages, but not many problems. Page 40, 25 through 28, so there's 4 problems. And then page 45, 22 through 25. Another 4 problems. You have 8 word problems to do for next time.